All right, Genesis through Revelation. Lee said I have all day, so we'll be here. We'll be here all day. Just kidding. Just kidding. But you guys, this is very interactive, so get out your Bibles because we're going to ask for verses. If you guys have memorized these verses, you get to spout them off. And turn to the first page, I guess, or whatever it says God's mission is. Turn to that because you guys are going to be writing some stuff down. So, anyway, God's mission. If you have a mission, we have a son who just retired from the military. He went on missions. They didn't go without knowing their end goal. How'd they know they accomplished the mission if they didn't know where they were headed? So Burke asked me to come up and share this. So what is God's end goal? We got to know where we're headed if we're on a mission. Who knows Habakkuk 2:14? If you don't know it, someone look it up and read it out really loud. Habakkuk 2:14. That's one of those minor prophets. I always laugh when we get to heaven. Are we going to meet someone and go, "Oh, you're the minor prophet"? How about that name, the minor prophet? Habakkuk 2:14. Read it really loud.
For the earth will be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord, as the waters cover the sea.
All right, the earth will be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord as the waters cover the sea. Can you separate the waters from the sea? Can you go up to the water and go, oh, here's the water, here's the sea? You can't, can you? And that's what God's mission is for his glory to fill the entire earth. Now, has that happened yet? No, it hasn't. Every corner of the earth, God wants displayed with his glory. So how do we know when we get there? How do we know? Matthew 24:14. Who can find that and read that out loud? You get a Bible drill today, don't you? 24:14.
And this gospel of the kingdom will be proclaimed throughout the whole world as a testimony to all nations, and then the end will come.
All right, that's the end. The end will come when? When does it say? When the gospel is proclaimed throughout the whole earth. When God's glory fills the whole earth, that's when the end is going to come. Now, how is that going to happen? We just sang the song, Matthew 28:18 through 20. Who can either quote that or read that?
Jesus spoke to them, saying, "All authority has been given to me in heaven and on earth. Go therefore and make disciples of all the nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all that I have commanded you. And lo, I am with you always, even to the end of the age."
Yes. That's how it's going to happen, is we're going, the disciples of Jesus Christ are going out, and we are going to share the gospel to fill the whole earth by sharing the gospel with every nation. Now, it says, go and make disciples. The verb here is really go make disciples. The assumption is that we're going to go. So really, we could say, as you are going, make disciples. As you're going, make disciples. That's why we're here at Link, isn't it? We're learning as we're going how to make disciples. So, has this always been God's mission? Someone look up Genesis 1:26 through 28 and read it out loud. We're going to start in Genesis and see if this was always God's mission.
God said, "Let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, over the livestock and all the wild animals, and over all the creatures that move along the ground."
26 through 28.
Oh. So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God he created them. Male and female he created them. God blessed them and said to them, "Be fruitful and increase in number. Fill the earth and subdue it. Rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, and over every living creature that moves on the ground."
All right, so this is what God said. Rule the earth, multiply. Rule and multiply. Now, we think of this as like physical reproduction, is make more people on this earth. But the fall hadn't occurred yet. And so Adam and Eve experienced this unique spiritual bond with God. They were created in his image. And so God's mission for Adam and Eve, created in the image of God, in this perfect union was to make more image bearers and more image bearers and more image bearers. And eventually, the world would be filled with the image bearers of God, wouldn't it? But what happened in Genesis 3? Who knows? The fall. Adam and Eve ate that forbidden fruit, and sin entered into that relationship. So now that relationship wasn't the pure relationship of image bearing. Did God's mission change, though? No. He said, be fruitful, multiply, rule over the earth. But what happened? Let's see. In Genesis 5, though, Genesis 6, if you look at Genesis 6:5, it says the men, they were multiplying evil. Every thought and intention of their heart was wicked. Can you imagine that? Every thought and intention of these people's hearts was wicked. But there was one righteous person. Who was that? Say it loud. Noah. God chose that one righteous person. He said, okay, we're going to do over. So he picked that one righteous person, took him a chapter to build the ark, and 2 chapters for him and his family to live in the ark and for the flood to come and go. Chapter 9, they leave the ark, and what does he tell them again? Be fruitful and multiply. Has God's mission changed? No. He just did a do-over, but the command is still the same. Be fruitful and multiply. But if you read 2 more chapters over, the Tower of Babel. Has God's image and glory been multiplied, or man's image and glory? Man's image and glory has been multiplied. Has God's mission changed? No, it hasn't. Even though man keeps jumping in and doing our own thing, God's mission is still the same. So, I want you to, just in your table, look at this, do your God's mission thing. You've got verses here. And I want you all to look up these verses and discuss and write down God's mission, the extent, where did he want to reach, who did he want to reach with this mission, and who is he going to use? And on Exodus 19, leave some spaces because we're going to go back and fill in those little dashes there. Okay, so I'm going to give you about 10 minutes to be able to do this. All right, Genesis 12, 1 through 3.
I liked it already.
There we go. She's not failing us at all. Genesis 12, 1 through 3. What's the extent of God's mission here? Just all the families. Absolutely. All the families. And who's he going to use to see all the families reached? Abram. Excellent, excellent. Exodus 19, 5 and 6. What's the extent here? Israel. Or is it all peoples? All the earth? Say that again?
We got all the earth.
All the earth? I like that. All the earth. And who's he going to use? Israel. Yes, indeed. The nation of Israel. Psalm 67. I love this psalm. What's the extent of God's mission here?
All nations.
All nations. And who's he going to use? Us. Absolutely. He's going to use us with an exclamation point. Isaiah 49, 5 and 6. What's the extent of God's mission here? The ends of the earth. And who's he going to use? Did you catch that? Who is God's servant here? Messiah. Jesus. But what I love about this is it says it's not, you will do more than restore the people of Israel. I will make you a light to the Gentiles, and you will bring my salvation to the ends of the earth. It's too small a thing just to save the Israelites. God's using Jesus to save the whole world. How cool is that? Matthew 28, 18 through 20. What's the extent of God's mission here? All the nations. Don't be shy. Yell it out. All the nations. And who's he going to use? His disciples. And us. Are we his disciples? Yes. So disciples. Excellent. Acts 1:8. Who's
Remotest part of the earth.
the remotest part of the earth? Absolutely. The ends of the earth. And who's he going to use? Us, his disciples. Now, at this time, they were in Jerusalem, weren't they? And he said, Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, and the uttermost. But these people stayed in Jerusalem. So if you just stay, as in Acts 1:8, and you don't go, you get Acts 8:1. Does anyone know what happened there? Persecution, and the people were all scattered. So God's going to make sure his mission gets accomplished, even if we kind of buck at it, but he wants to use us. All right, 2 Corinthians 5:18 through 20. What's the extent of his mission? The world. Absolutely, the world. And who does he want to use? Christians, believers, us. He wants to use us. We're ambassadors. He calls us ambassadors here. He wants to use us as ambassadors. And it's the ends of the world. You just put the world. Oh, yeah. And us. All right, and then Revelation 7:9 through 10. What's the extent of God's mission? Who's it say? What?
Every nation.
Every nation. And who's he using? Say it loud.
His people.
His people. All of us. Every nation. Oops, sorry, just hit you. Absolutely. Has his mission changed? No. But I want you to go back to these three little dashes in there. God chose to use Israel. Israel were going to be the representatives of God. They were going to be the go-between in God. God was going to use them as priests in the world. Now, Exodus 20:18 through 21. I want someone to read that. Exodus 20:18 through 21. Emily, can you read it out super loud? Correct.
When the people saw the thunder and lightning,
Really loud. Yell it.
When the people saw the thunder and lightning and heard the trumpet and saw the mountain in smoke, they trembled with fear. They stayed at a distance and said to Moses, "Speak to us yourself, and we will listen. But do not have God speak to us, or we will die." Moses said to the people, "Do not be afraid. God has come to test you, so that the fear of God will be with you and keep you from sinning." The people remained at a distance while Moses approached the thick darkness where God was.
So, God wanted to use Israel as the priests here. And they're saying, you know what? No. We don't want to hear from God. Moses, you just be the go-between here. We don't want to be the go-between. So they rejected that job, didn't they? 1 Peter 2:9. Who can look that up and read it real loud? This should be a familiar verse to many of you.
But you are God's chosen and special people. You are a group of royal priests and a holy nation. God has brought you out of darkness into his marvelous light. Now you must tell all the wonderful things that he has done.
So now what job did God give us now? We're the priesthood. God has given us that job. We are now the priests, the royal nation. God has given that job to the Gentiles, to those who believe in him. Of course, Jews can believe in him, but God has given us that job. So now we're the priests. And according to 2 Corinthians 5:20, which is the next one, but we've already looked that up, who are we now? We're ambassadors. You should know that. We studied that. We're ambassadors. We're the ones now to take this message to the ends of the earth. So has God's mission changed? Not at all. From Genesis 1 to the end of Revelation, God's mission has remained the same. And who does he want to use to see his glory extended to the ends of the earth? Us. You and you and you and you and you. Everyone in this room. God has chosen. People, this is a privilege. This is a privilege that as you are saved, you are invited into the mission of God. You are invited to participate. And it's a glorious participation. Why did God invite you? Because he knew this was going to be the best thing for you, to see his glory reach to the ends of the earth. Sometimes we get the attitude of, I got to go share the gospel. No, we get to go share the gospel. I got to get up at 7:30 and pray. No, we get to pray. We get to communicate with the God of the universe. How cool is that? We get to take the message of salvation to the lost and dying world. How awesome is that? To be an ambassador, if the president called you up and said, I want you to be an ambassador to Timbuktu. Man, sure. Hopefully you'd say that. What a great job that is. God has appointed each one of us as ambassadors. And at Link here, if you haven't been trained on how to share the gospel, you're going to get trained. You're going to know by the time you leave Link how to do that. And if you already know, you get to help someone else to learn how to take this amazing message to the ends of the earth. The earth will be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord. As the waters cover the sea, it will happen. According to Revelation, it will happen, right? The question that you have to ask yourself is, do you want to be a part of it? I want you to divide up, get in groups of 2, and just take a few minutes and share a thought or a verse that really stuck out to you and just pray. We're going to take like 3 minutes to do that. If there's an odd number at your table, do 3.